right now, if you take a look around at our garden, there's nothing really blooming. There might be a stray flower or something, but you see lots of seed heads like these right here.
Yep.
Those are coneflower seed heads, and there's all throughout here. And the birds, they will eat those during the winter, and the goldfinches. And then in the stems, a lot of times there'll be small bees and small wasps will winter over in the stems.
Really?
Yeah, so you watch people pick up their leaves, put them in garbage bags, but leaves aren't garbage, they're habitat. And so you want butterflies in your garden. If you're putting your leaves into a garbage bag, you're also putting butterfly eggs and possibly butterfly chrysalis into those, because the butterflies right this time of year, they're not going to migrate down to Central America. They don't have the time. So what they do is the caterpillar will go into a chrysalis stage, and then they'll drop among the leaves, and then the leaves will keep them warm during the winter, and then they'll emerge in March and April.
So leave this stuff. Don't be.
Leave the leaves is the new thing.
Leave the leaves because a lot of us do. We just let's get this all taken care of and let our yard.
Or we grind them up, and then you're grinding up the caterpillars. So you're grinding up the baby caterpillars is what you're doing, and that's your butterflies. So right now we have 40 trees in our yard, and what I will do is I'll get the leaves off of the patio, and I'll push them off of the path a little bit so I don't drag them into the house. But everything stays here. And so what happens is the birds, the roly-polies and the millipedes, they eat the leaves, and the roly-polies and the millipedes will eat the leaves. The birds will be looking for the roly-polies and the millipedes, and they'll shred the leaves. And so by spring, I won't really see any leaves here. And this meadow, this is all this standing stuff, it'll all be beaten down by the birds, and I don't have to do anything. It just is. By the time my spring comes around, I leave this. Now, for those folks who have grass, and for some, grass is very precious, blow the leaves off of the grass into the beds under your trees. In fact, I was just talking to my sister. She says, I need to get some mulch under my trees. I just blow your leaves under there. It will suppress the weeds, and then you won't have to worry about them even and it'll hold the moisture in. So I don't have a lot of weeds in my yard, and I was kind of like ruminating with Rita about this, and I said, why don't I have weeds and you do? And I said, the trick is I leave the leaves, and they just suppress the weeds.
Yeah.
So, that's the whole trick. The other thing is, Ted, that about 70% of our native bees are ground bees. They nest in the ground. So if you start digging up and really working your ground this time of year, you're really disturbing those nests and hurting those bees. So the Xerces Society, and that's XERCES, there you go, is a great information place to go about bees and pollinators. Okay. And we've become a bee city here in the Fredericksburg city, and I think that folks just didn't know. I didn't know. For years I ground up my leaves. Now I just leave them and I don't think about it. So what do? The hardest part about this is you have to go sit on the porch and have a glass of wine. You just don't have to do a lot of work in the fall.
I was just going to say, do nothing.
Do nothing.
And you're helping nature in your yard.
Yes, absolutely. That's the key. The key is don't worry about it. You don't want to prune anything this time of year, because if you have a warm spell, the things that you've pruned might send out new shoots, and then if they hit the cold, then that will burn them. So no pruning, no leaf removal. Don't cut down all your seed heads, because that's going to feed your birds. You can see the birds popping around on the seed heads right now, and they're underneath the seeds. They're taking care of this for me. It's nature's way of doing it.
Nature's cycle is just amazing when you start explaining it and seeing how it works.
Well, and if you slow down. So in this corner of my yard, I've got this little tiny pile of sticks, my little mini brush pile. And for some people, that's all they can do in their yard because they want to have it neat and clean and tidy. But, you know, I've tucked it over here in the corner that nobody can see, and critters can use that. But I also have a big brush pile over here.
Now that's a brush pile.
That's a brush pile. But you know what? It doesn't offend me. It's back here in the alley, and it really does serve the critters well. But also what I've done is I blow the leaves off of here, and I make kind of leaf piles. So this gets really pretty thick here, but that's really great habitat for a lot of critters to overwinter under. And it helps the moisture, holding the moisture under this dogwood and this other shrub. And at the same time, I don't have to worry about it. And by the time the winter's over, this is all going to be reduced down. And if I feel like it, I can pick it up, or I can just let it go and it'll turn into compost. So my yard is taking care of itself again. So I spend, I don't know, maybe a half hour in the yard a month now. And now this time of year, I don't spend hardly anything. I've been doing a little watering for some of the new perennials I put in, but that's just about it.
It's just a change in the way you think, but as you describe it, it's you. If you want to have some of the things that we all want to have, these are the things. This is what you got to do.
Well, if you're planting perennials to have a butterfly garden, and you're hauling your butterflies off in the winter, you're fighting against yourself. Try not to fight against yourself. Try to do something that works together with nature. So we don't want to destroy the eggs or the cocoons of the caterpillar. And they are in your leaves. That's what you have to remember. That's where they're going to be. Because not all creatures leave here over the winter.